Hello and good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to the last service of March. As Reverend Cora Howard would always say, boy, time flies. So my name is Karen Sugiyama, and I would like to thank you for attending this morning's Dharma family service. We will begin this service with a moment of quiet sitting. Reverend C.J. Dunford will strike the bell, and we will sit for 1 or 2 minutes to quiet our minds and prepare to hear the Dharma. Then they will strike the bell again, and we will continue with the service.
Today, as we sit quietly together, I invite you to notice the feel of the air on your skin, the feel of your clothes on your skin. Notice the temperature of the air surrounding you. Feel the ground beneath our feet, supporting us, holding us up. Feel the chair beneath our bottoms and our back, giving us support. Pay attention to the feelings in your heart and the thoughts that you carry. As you breathe in, notice these things. And as you breathe out, let them go. As we breathe in together, let us feel these feelings, think these thoughts without judgment, greeting them as we would an old friend. And as we breathe out, let them go. Breathing in, we notice without judgment. Breathing out, we let them go. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda 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 Namanda.
Reverend C.J. will now chant the Sambutsuge, which is on page 79 of the Purple Service Book.
Sanbutsuge. The Gatha Sanbutsuge comes from the larger Sutra of Immeasurable Life. It is the praises voiced by Bodhisattva Dharmakara to the Buddha Lokeshvara Raja. In these praises, Dharmakara pledges their own desire to attain Buddhahood and their heartfelt determination to accomplish this goal for the sake of saving all sentient beings.
무슈셋노
이진난료 료가 사붓 고그도다이 고슈기묘 노조조셉 고그녀나이옴 니무토소가토아이민 노답니사이지포라이쇼 닌넷쇼쇼 이토가곡 게라그암놈 고붓신묘 제가신쇼 혼간노히 니기쇼쇼욕 지포세솜 지에무게 조료히솜 지가신교 계료신시 쇼그도그추 가교쇼진 닌주흐게 나만다부 나맘다부 감니시그도그 묘도세이사이 노혼보다이신 오조으 나모 아미다붓스 나모 아미다붓스 나모 아미다붓스 나만다붓스 나만다붓스 나만다붓 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 나만다붓스.
Please rise if you are able to follow along with the Gatha Many But One, which is on the handout. Please remain standing for the reading of the Three Treasures One. I will now recite Three Treasures 1 on page 8 of the Purple Service Book. Please feel free to follow along. Three Treasures 1. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 We'll now have a Dharma message by Reverend CJ.
Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to do my Dharma talk a little bit differently. I want to start out with a thought experiment for us all to do together. So let's take a moment and take a deep breath. Close our eyes. Try to let go of the many thoughts running around in our heads, if we can. And just listen to my voice. You don't need to respond verbally to what I say, but I want you to think to yourself with your eyes closed. Normal. What does this word mean to you? What does it mean when something is normal? I realize we are in a sacred space, and so we might be thinking a little bit differently. So I invite you to think like you would with your everyday monkey mind. We all have those. Normal. Okay, try to let that thought drop away. Now think of the word good. What is something good? What does it mean to be good? Okay, let's drop that too. And think of bad. What does it mean to be bad? What are some things that are bad? People, objects, actions. Feel free to open your eyes and sit with those thoughts for a moment. All of them together. Normal, bad, good. You don't need to share. Just hold those thoughts in our hearts as we think about them. There are many things in this world that influence our thoughts around what is normal, what is bad, what is good, what's abnormal, what's natural, what's healthy and unhealthy. Things that we like and we dislike. Some of those predispositions might come from our own life experience, and some of them might have been conditioned to us socially through culture, behavior, and some a combination of all those things. I have a slideshow for normal. Today, I want to talk about why social norms and rules will kill us. And when I say us, I mean all of us. But especially, I mean transgender and gender nonconforming people. I want to talk about this topic because it is a Buddhist one, and also because today is International Transgender Day of Visibility, which is an annual event occurring on March 31st, dedicated to celebrating transgender people, raising awareness of discrimination faced by transgender people worldwide, as well as a celebration of our contributions to society. And I say our because I am a transgender person. In my talk today, I will be discussing violence, death, and suicide. So please do what you need to take care of yourself. While these topics may be difficult for us to hear, they're important because for many trans, gender nonconforming, and queer folks, they're deeply rooted in the difficulties that we face in our everyday lives. So I'll start out with our Gosandai. Please join me in Gassho as we read a passage quoted by Venerable Shinran. That Buddha in the causal stage made the universal vow, when beings hear my name and think on me, I will come to welcome each of them. Not discriminating between the poor and the rich and well-born, not discriminating between the inferior and the highly gifted, not choosing the learned and those upholding pure precepts, nor rejecting those who break precepts and whose evil karma is profound, solely making beings turn about and abundantly say the Nembutsu, I can make bits of rubble change into gold. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Our founder, Venerable Shinran, provides us with an exegesis or religious textual analysis of this poem. He explains to abandon the mind of self-power, admonishes the various and diverse kinds of people, ignorant beings, good and evil, to abandon the conviction that one is good, to cease relying upon the self, to stop reflecting knowingly on one's evil heart, and further, to abandon the judging of people as good and bad. When such shackled foolish beings, the lowly who are hunters and peddlers, thus wholly entrust themselves to the name embodying great wisdom, then while burdened as they are with obscuring passion, they attain supreme nirvana. Shackled describes us, who are bound by all of our various obscuring passions. Obscuring passions refers to the pains which torment the body and afflictions which distress the heart and mind. The hunter is one who slaughters many kinds of living things. This is the huntsman. The peddler is one who buys and sells things. This is the trader. They are called low. Such peddlers, hunters, and others are none other than we, who are like stones and tiles and pebbles. In these passages, we see that Shinran implies that the social station, ability, and evilness of all beings is the same. He seems to be suggesting that our past karma from all of our lifetimes, transmigrating the sea of birth and death, and our obscuring passions that are the very roots of existence that bind us all together as human beings in this world of pain. He then goes on to say that this conventional distinctions ultimately mean nothing in the light of boundless wisdom and compassion. Shinran addresses classes of people in his day called etta and hinin, those of the low classes, or even those considered so vile that they weren't considered human, hunters and merchants. These people existed completely beneath the social hierarchy of humanity at Shinran's time. Here, Shinran is creating a community of evil, or defiled, bound to our karmic evil. From the perspective, though, of Amida Buddha, the high and the low all need deliverance. Shinran goes on to explain in the poem, quoting, not discriminating at all between the poor and the rich and well-born. He says, not discriminating means not choosing, not rejecting. Poor means impoverished and in need. At all is for emphasis. Well-born indicates the wealthy and the people of rank. Thus, without in the least differentiating among such people, Amida leads each and every person to the Pure Land. Not discriminating between inferior and the highly gifted, Shinran quotes, inferior refers to those whose knowledge is shallow, limited, and slight. Highly gifted indicates those with great ability for learning. Amida does not choose between the two. Here, Shinran breaks down the conventional dichotomies of good and bad, stupid and intelligent, poor and wealthy. It seems that Shinran is saying that societal systems of hierarchical valuation exist only because of the human tendency to ascribe value to people based on religious goodness, material wealth, educational background, ability, behavior, appearance, and countless other qualifications. Yet the Buddha's promise of liberation pierces all of these social and cultural hierarchies, recognizing the beauty and the sacredness, the limitedness and evilness of our actual existence within a world of karmic pain and suffering that we have constructed based upon our obscuring passions. Shinran goes on to say that when we entrust ourselves to the Tathagata's primal vow, we who are bits of rubble and tile and pebbles are turned into gold. Peddlers and hunters who are like stones and tiles and pebbles are grasped and never abandoned by the Tathagata's light. Know that this comes about solely through Shinjin. We speak of the light that grasps because we are taken into the heart of the Buddha of unhindered light. Thus, Shinjin is said to be diamond-like. There's a soteriological path, or a path of salvation in Shin Buddhism that comes about through the realization of Shinjin, or the entrusting heart. Re-examining our conventional notions of value and worth is an essential aspect of the Shin Buddhist path. Our dear Reverend Matsumoto, his teacher, Shigaraki Sensei, states that living with Shinjin must involve the complete confrontation with, opposition to, and de-absolutization of the norms and value systems of the secular order. As long as this point remains unclear, Shinjin will be weakened and bound up by the secular logic and value systems without anyone even being aware of it. Transformation occurs when we are able to examine more deeply the causes and conditions that have led us to our current configuration of selfhood. The particular obscuring passions that drive our behavior and reactions to the world around us. The deeper understanding of the workings of our lives and the world around us leads to a natural growth and transformation, an evolution in spiritual maturity of those driving factors in our relationship to them. We just read a lot of Shinran. And I wanted to share this because it's the foundation of my ministry. It is what I wrote about in my master's thesis. And I want to sort of illustrate all of this by sharing a bit of my life with you. This is the first time I've shared some of this outside of close friends, chosen family, and my therapist. So I hope that you can treat it with gentleness and kindness. When I was 19 years old, I attempted to end my life. I was working 4 jobs and going to Radford University in Virginia as an undergraduate student full-time. I was constantly exhausted and felt like my life had no purpose. On a deeper level, too, I hated myself, and I couldn't see any reason why anyone would care about me, let alone love me. So after a particularly rough day, I took a handful of pills, hoping that I'd just go to sleep and never wake up. I grew up learning how men and women should act. But deep down, I hated all of those rules. I grew up learning that love meant sacrifice. Jesus loved me, so he was tortured and died on a cross. My parents loved me because they told me they would die for me. I had to love a particular type of person, even if I didn't want that kind of relationship. I needed to sacrifice what I really wanted, who I really was, because that is what I was taught love is. I was also taught what is normal, what was good, and what was bad. I always tried my best to be normal and good. I dressed the way I was supposed to dress, talked the way I was supposed to talk, and pretended like all the things and people I was supposed to do. And I adjusted myself so well to all of these things that I was supposed to do and to be, that when I looked at myself, who I really knew who I was deep down, under all the pretending, and I hated that person. I started hiding my thoughts and my desires, my expression of who I am, who I wanted to be when I was 4 years old, when I learned all of these things about being dirty, evil, wrong, an abomination, abnormal. By 19, after all those years of pretending, I threw away all of the fakeness in my life, all of the masks I wore. And all that was left was this little 4-year-old who believed nobody loved them. Everything in my life was a lie, and I hated myself for trying so hard to make everyone else happy all the time. Needless to say, I survived that cocktail of pills, but I still felt sick for several days. There's a lot more to this story to tell, but I'll just say that my boss and her family at the Japanese restaurant ran by Japanese immigrants where I was working asked me what was wrong. And when I told them, they treated me with the same non-judgmental attitude that we often ascribe to Buddha. They became my family that day. During all that mess, my best friend Nami, who's unrelated to those other friends, and who's also another Japanese person, helped me to find my first apartment when my family kicked me out. She helped me find an apartment with her friends, and Nami and I still talk regularly. I visit her and her family, my family, in Yokohama every time I go to Japan, all 2 times. And I recite sutras at their family's obutsudan to express my gratitude for my family there in Yokohama. I found family, love, and acceptance with 2 different Japanese families when my own family abandoned me. Social norms and rules around gender and love nearly killed me. And I still question the value of my life from time to time because of those rules. I tell you this story because you know me. The Sangha is my family, and my story isn't that unique for trans people. While mine has come to a relatively happy place, so many other trans and queer people, especially those of us who also face racism, classism, and other forms of discrimination, are not alive today because of the hatred and violence that our social norms create. Today, on the Trans Day of Visibility, I really wanted to make sure that everyone at BBT goes home knowing just a little bit about Nex Benedict. Their pictures here on the slide. And why we have to protect our precious trans and gender nonconforming children. Nex Benedict was a 16-year-old non-binary gender fluid student at Owasso High School in Oklahoma. He used he, him pronouns out around his friends in school, and at home, his family used they, them pronouns. So I'll use both. In an interview with local news station, his mother, Sue Benedict, said that Nex was a straight-A student who enjoyed reading, art, and their cat Zeus, creating new recipes and playing video games like Minecraft and Ark. I think most people in this room know what Minecraft is. If you haven't played it, then your kid or your grandkid has, for sure. Nex's mother said that, quote, Nex had a light in them that was so big. They had so many dreams. I want their light to keep shining on for everyone. That light was so big and bright and beautiful that I want everyone to remember Nex that way. But in early 2023, last year, Nex became a target for bullies at school who tormented him for being gender nonconforming. Sue said in the interview, she told Nex, quote, I said, you've got to be strong and look the other way because these people don't know who you are. But I didn't know how bad it had gotten. Sue told the interviewer, Nex did not see themselves as male or female. Nex saw themselves right down the middle. I was still learning about that. Nex was teaching me that. On February 7th, 2024, Nex and another transgender student were attacked by 3 older girls. During the attack, Nex suffered several head injuries. The next day, Nex would die not from physical injuries, but from an overdose of Benadryl and Prozac. We don't know what went through Nex's mind at the end of their life. But based on my own experience, I can imagine why he took those pills. Social norms and rules killed Nex. Every time I read the passages from Venerable Shinran that I shared with you today, Shigaraki-sensei, I think of my own struggle with depression and suicide ideation. I also think about how unfair it is that we're all forced to follow so many arbitrary rules around what is normal and acceptable and what is abnormal and unacceptable. I know many people at Temple don't like the idea of me talking about politics, but as a transgender and a queer person, I do not have the luxury of avoiding politics. Across the United States, state legislatures and members of executive branches are determining my rights as a transgender person. Conservatives call me mentally ill, a groomer, and so many other terrible things. But I just want to live my life as my authentic self, something I think we all want for ourselves. My being transgender and queer doesn't hurt anyone, but me and my people are constantly demonized by at least half of the people running our local, state, and federal governments. So I apologize for getting political in this Dharma message. Whether we like it or not, Venerable Shinran was political. When he positions all of us with the outcasts of society, as he does in the passages I've shared with you, Shinran is employing a religious and political tactic that critiques social norms, that critiques classism and hierarchies, and on a more personal level, critiques our biased and judgmental hearts. I'd like to conclude my Dharma talk today by reading the passage from Shigaraki Sensei once more. Please join me in Gassho. Living with Shinjin must involve the complete confrontation with, opposition to, and de-absolutization of the norms and value systems of the secular order. As long as this point remains unclear, Shinjin will continually weaken and bound up in the secular logic and value systems, without anyone even being aware of it. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend CJ, for your deeply felt Dharma talk. Please rise if you are able to follow along with the Gatha Amida's Guide to Life, which is on the other handout. Please be seated. Let's see. Now I'd like to welcome some guests to our service. Let's see. So if you would like, please stand. When I call your name, please either stand up or raise your hand so we can acknowledge your presence. And thank you for being here. Daijaku Sensei. And Dr. Nancy Lin. Jitsujo. Jonathan Nakransky. Jenny Bright. MJ. Lee. And Chris. Thank you very much for attending. We're very happy to have you here. Some or many of you were from the Jodo Shinshu Center next door, where they were just concluding a seminar on, or a workshop, I guess, on chaplaincy, Buddhist chaplaincy and ministry. So we're really glad to have you here. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, now is the time for the monthly birthday lottery. So the birthdays in March are Masaru A, Ron K, Mia N, Wayne S, Florence Y, and Paul Y. And they're tied in these little cute knots here. So the winner of this month's lottery is Florence. Happy birthday, Florence. And you've won a gift card as a birthday gift from the temple. The temple office will contact you and send you the gift card. And if anybody else has a March birthday, please take a little gift from the basket in the social hall afterwards. Happy birthday, and there's a song. Yeah, okay. We'll now read the announcements that have been submitted. Online meditation and discussion, Wednesday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Please sign up on our website. Virtual yoga, Thursday, April 11th from 8 a.m. to 8:20. No registration is required, but please make sure that you have turned in a waiver form. The Zoom link is on our website. The BBT Dharma monthly online study session is on Thursday, May 2nd at 6:30 p.m. The topic is birth and karma, and the sign-up link is also on our website. There's Jodo Shinshu parking for the next month or two is going to be very limited. Jodo Shinshu parking the parking lot is being resurfaced due to some leaks. And during this period, parkings will be very limited to the spaces along the back wall and downstairs. So please see the posting sign and park accordingly, but I guess parking will be available for the next services. And then I have a couple of other announcements. On April 12th, at the Jodo Shinshu Center, the Institute of Buddhist Studies will be hosting its annual Uno Memorial Lecture. The speaker so that will be April 12th, which is a Friday at 4 p.m. It will be a lecture on Asian American identity and Buddhism by Dr. Sharon Su. And she's going to be presenting on her latest research project, Emergent Dharma, an anthology of Asian American feminist Buddhist women. So following the lecture, there will be a wine and cheese event. So please, if you're in the area, please stop by, enjoy the wine and cheese and the company of students and faculty maybe, and supporters of the Institute of Buddhist Studies. Also, just to let you know or remind everybody that the Cherry Blossom Festival is this month, or in April, in San Francisco, 2 weekends, April 13th and 14th, and April 20th and 21st, with the Cherry Blossom Parade being on the 21st. Just to let you know that the Buddhist Churches of America, the Northern California District, temples will be sharing a booth at the temple, so if you happen to be in San Francisco at the time, please stop by and say hello. Let's see. Are there any other announcements? Okay.
We're almost done, I promise. I do have an announcement to share too. Yesterday we had a really important interfaith panel called Meeting the Moment, an interfaith discussion on resisting and addressing genocide. And so this was a conversation about Palestine and Israeli genocide being enacted upon Palestinians. And we had Reverend Michael Yoshi, Reverend Bridge, Rabbi Lynn, and Dr. Jess Gunham. So we had a really great panel. It was advertised through the temple. If you weren't able to attend but would like to watch the recording, please contact me. We have the link available so I can share that with you. On the larger note, the Blend Committee has been very active in engaging with this particular topic. Me and several other people on the Blend Committee are part of the Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, which is an organization based in the East Bay. And they do a lot of work advocating for migrant families, but we're also advocating for people of Palestine and their liberation. And so I know this topic can be confusing, can be difficult because of all of the misinformation spread by very powerful racist Zionist groups. The Blend Committee has been working hard to help educate ourselves and educate the Sangha. And so if you want to learn more, we're going to continue talking about this. It's not going to go away. So I hope you'll engage. We did raise a ceasefire banner in the courtyard. You will see Blend will be hosting an informational session next month, or this month, I guess, basically, about 4 weeks from now. I think it's the 28th of April. And in lieu of the adult Dharma talk, we'll be talking about why we raised the ceasefire banner, some of the process that went into that. It was a democratic decision based out of the board meeting, several meetings, board meetings, lots of conversations. And so if you want to hear more about that, please attend that service. And if you have questions, feel free to talk to me, maybe other people on the Blend Committee, but check in with them first. I'm certainly available to talk, though. And with that announcement out of the way, I'd like to thank Karen for being our chairperson today. Thank you, Karen. Thank you to our wonderful live streaming team for their help during today's live streaming service. Thank you to Amiko and GI for the Gatha. And thank you to our March Toban for preparing refreshments in the social hall. This concludes today's service. Thank you to everyone who joined us here in person and everyone online.